Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Sean Black. I want to just go through some thought process that I had regarding today's show, regarding building lineups for NBA Thursday slate. um, First and foremost, if you like any of my videos or anything of that sort, uh, please share it. Please subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you have any questions regarding lineups or anything like that, please let me know. I will give you my knowledge to the best of my ability regarding anything dealing with NBA and or NFL. You can check me out on Instagram at DFS 5050 and on my Facebook page, DFS Portfolio. With no further ado, let me get right to it. The moment that y'all been waiting for, Thursday slate is going to go down. Let me share my screen with y'all real quick. All right, so as you see right now, we have a four-game slate, which is a fairly small slate, kind of. I say medium to small. Washington versus Atlanta, Boston versus Chicago, Los Angeles versus Portland, San Antonio versus Sacramento. As you can see, one of the things that I want to look at first, I'm looking at the over-under in these games. Right now, the two lowest over-unders right now are the first and last games. The ones in betweens are the ones that I particularly would like to target. And then for other reasons, I want to kind of have a little piece of the other games as well. And I will follow up with that as I will continue. So one of the things I like to do for everyone that's brand new to what I've been doing, I've been posting up a lot of videos regarding lineup optimizers, and by far the best one in my book for me personally is Daily Fantasy Nerd. This lineup optimizer during the MLB season has helped me win well over $1,000, and I'm very happy of the results that I've had with them, and I am a proud supporter of what they have and what they do here at Daily Fantasy Nerd. But again, one of the things that I wanted to just express is what we're talking about here in basketball. Okay, so Fantasy Nerd, basketball, we're starting at the point guard position. As of right now, you have the top four point guards that you have tonight are Chris Paul, John Wall, Damian Lillard, and Isaiah Thomas. One of the things that you'll see here on the optimizer is if you're subscribed to the All-Star subscription, you'll see that the community, the community likes, and you'll see who everyone is liking a lot in these particular games. Let's see. Where I really want to start off at, I really want to see where the value is in the point guard position. So right now, if I'm going to click on the value here on the right-hand side here, this side here, and right now, from a value perspective, we're looking at the top three being Terry Rozier, Dennis Schroeder, and Ty Lawson. Okay. And then for the sake of this video, the couple of people that I really want to target, I would say I would like to target Rozier and Schroeder, right? But what I'm going to do is okay. So based on value, I want to pick Dennis Schroeder. Okay. Dennis Schroeder is playing at home, and he's playing against a Washington team that they're basically on a serious rebuild, considering they traded a lot of people last season. Some key components in my thoughts, but nonetheless, they made those trades, they made those changes and whatnot. I want to target Dennis Schroeder at home. They're favored to win by 4 points, and I feel like with the Vegas odds and ends, they're going to want to. They're hardly ever wrong. When they say about 4.5, it could be either less than 4 points, or it could be a little bit over 4 points. It could be a blowout, or it could be a neck-to-neck game. From the looks of it looks like it's going to be a pretty close game. However, I feel like the offense is in Atlanta's favor, especially with it being the season opener. And I feel like Dennis Schroeder is going to do some damage. Okay. So from a value perspective, I want to pick Dennis Schroeder. Okay. Now, I'm going to look at DVP, defense versus position, seeing who has the hotter hand, or who has a favorable matchup. I would say I could easily pick Isaiah Thomas. If you're looking at the defense versus position, Rondo essentially doesn't play that much defense. He's more of an offensive distributor more than he is a defensive person. But he does have good reach, and he does have a height advantage over Isaiah Thomas. However, the team at Boston is more structured, I feel, than that of Chicago, because Chicago's going through a rebuild since they made some trades. And as you can see right here, if you look at the points scored, the Vegas projected points scored, you can see that the difference between the two teams is only about 2 points, right? So I definitely want a piece of both sides. I definitely want to look at some other positions in the Chicago offense other than the point guard position. But for the sake of this, I will say that I'm going to like Isaiah Thomas. I'm not doing a full lock on him. I just like what he has, what he has to offer. Okay. If we're looking at player efficiency rating, and if you're a novice to these terms, the beautiful thing about Fantasy Nerd is that they show you exactly what it means and what it's related to and how it affects the person that you're utilizing. One of the key things in NBA that a lot of people need to understand is that the usage rate is very important. And I look at it like this: if the usage rate and the minutes coincide with each other very well, or they correlate with each other very well, then that's definitely a person that you want to play on any given night. Doesn't matter their defense versus position, because they're always going to have their hands on the ball, and that produces more opportunities. Okay. So with that being said, you have a guy like Damian Lillard. His DVP is not all that. But however, the defense allows 101 points. So that means no matter if he's having a bad game or not, he's still going to get close to his average score. Now, of course, it's the beginning part of the NBA season, so there's a lot of stats that are not being filled in. There's not enough data to validate certain things. However, if there are certain sites that you can go to where you can look at historical stats, specifically when Damian Lillard played against the Los Angeles Clippers. Either way it goes, it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's actually the second highest over-under in the game of 208.5. So in a situation like this, I definitely want to like Damian Lillard. And for that reason alone, I'm going to go from there. You have the top three likes, right? We have Damian Lillard, Isaiah Thomas, and Dennis Schroeder. Okay, the next set, shooting guard. Again, what I'm going to look at first, I'm going to look at the value, see where the value is at, who has the highest value. And right now, Manu Ginobili has the highest value out of all the shooting guards in the position. Now, if anybody has seen the game that he played against Golden State in their season opener, you will see that he had posted up 21 points. And that's technically about, I think at the time he was projected to score about maybe 12 to 15 fantasy points. So, I mean, he kind of did like a 1.5x or 2x, give or take, somewhere in there. But anyway, Uh, I'm going to go ahead and actually lock him in. And the reason I'm going to lock him in and like him at the same time is because, again, he's playing he's playing a Sacramento team that doesn't play a lot of good defense. As you can look at the defense versus position, they're very weak against shooting guards. They allow over 106 points to the opposing team. That's Sacramento that I'm speaking of, and also Sacramento has the highest pace, one of the higher pace in the NBA. Okay, or the highest, I should say, in the NBA. So for that reason, even if Manu only gets, let's say, his average of 20 minutes, he's basically going to be a point per dollar type of guy. He's a true point per dollar type of guy. For the amount of time that he's on the floor, he's going to produce at least one or more fantasy points per minute played. And that's just proven. He's just he's very solid when it comes to that. So in a situation like that, I'm locking him in. For anybody that plays cash games, he's definitely would be a lock. So that's my thought process based on value. Okay. Now, I'm going to look at the top scorer, and then I'm going to look at the usage, who has the highest usage right now. Okay, so Dwayne Wade being traded to Chicago from Miami, which kind of sucks, but opens up a new opportunity for Dwayne Wade. He has one of the higher usage rates of anyone in this slate in the shooting guard position, and he's going to see his minutes. And he's another guy also that does really well with points per dollar. I'm sorry. Yeah, fantasy points per dollar. My apologies. And the thing about him too is he's playing a team that allows a high pace. Boston plays one of the higher pace. They're one of the higher pace teams in the NBA, but they're also a good defensive team in the midst of them being a higher pace. It's kind of weird how that works out. But Dwayne Wade's efficiency rating is at 20. His usage rate is at 31. So he will see the ball a lot. He will be distributing the ball, even if he's having a bad score night. He will play defense. He will block shots. He will rebound. He will steal. He will be the flash, but not the super flash that we know him to be. And so for that reason, I'm going to like him. Okay. I like CJ McCollum. And the reason I like CJ McCollum is because he's playing at home. Even though they're not necessarily favored to win, that doesn't mean that they can't pull the fast one against the LA Clippers. I feel like Portland, the thing about Portland and Los Angeles that a lot of people have to understand is that they didn't really make a lot of trades in the off season. The only acquisition that I feel that was significant to Portland was Evan Turner, and for the Clippers was Maurice Spates. So those are two people that you can look at if you're just looking for a pump play, in case you're just trying to stuff a lot of chalk players or stud players or top players. But he's definitely someone to look at. But for this, I will look at CJ. I'm just going to like him. I'm just going to do 3 per position there. Moving on to the small forward. Before I even move on with anyone else, I'm locking in Kawhi Leonard. That's all I got to say. Look at his usage rate. Look at his player efficiency rating. Look at the pace of play that the opposing team allows. Look at the defensive efficiency that the opposing team allows, and look at his DVP. This right there, he's going to be playing against Rudy Gay. They're both, tall, lanky folk, but I feel like Kawhi has the advantage. He's going to be on the floor well over 30 plus minutes unless it's a blowout, but he's going to either reach or exceed value whether he's on the floor for 33 minutes or more or not, okay? He's like the Russell Westbrook for small forwards. Enough said. But for value, the top value for the evening is Kyle Anderson. And he's a frustrating player to me. And the reason he's a frustrating player is because I feel like he had better opportunities last season than he does this season. And for the type of production that he can provide, it just wasn't there, even though he played 22 minutes. But the value is there because of what the opponent is allowing the offense to do to them. So I want to like him, but I'm not going to like him. I don't, it's just a gut. It's just a gut feeling. I could always be wrong. In this situation, I really want to pivot to someone else that I feel can actually do better production. I want to shout out to my homeboy, two of my peoples, man. My man Damien and my man Jeremy. They were both big on this guy right here, Jonathan Simmons. Apparently, he was a D-League player, and they were following him. And I didn't pay attention, and he ended up pulling up a big score. He basically 10x his value. So naturally, what Fanduel is going to do is they're going to jump his price up a little bit. So he's at 4,000, which is 500 more, but he's still a valuable player. And in this type of environment that is being given to the San Antonio Spurs, I think he can thrive very well. I could see him having anything over 25 to 30 minutes. So for that reason, I'm going to like him. I'm not going to lock him. Okay. Let's see. So in the small forward position, those are the two people that I like. So I'm just going to put that in there. All right. Power forward. Power forward position is pretty cool. I'm going to start with the value. Who has the highest value? And right now, Andrew Nicholson has the highest value out of all the power forwards. And the thing with him is, apparently, let's see, what did he do? Did he play already? No, he hasn't played yet. Okay, so I guess during the preseason he was performing very well. I believe that he might be the projected starter. Oh no, he's not the projected starter, but he's definitely going to see some minutes. Markieff Morris is going to be the starter for the Wizards, and I guess garbage time Andrew Nicholson can come in. He will see some minutes, I do believe. I don't know too much about Andrew Nicholson. I know that when I was playing around with the optimizer earlier today, this morning to be exact, he kept popping up in that position as a filler. And I feel like he has an opportunity to do something despite his usage and his efficiency rating being 19 and 15. His DVP, the DVP in that position is at 3%, which is that's okay. It's better to be in the positive than the negative when it comes to defense versus position. But the pace is fairly decent. Atlanta does give up points, and they do allow the opposing team to score on him. So in that case, I'm going to like him. And then now we're going to go to the person I really want to target, which is really LaMarcus Aldridge. He's going to be a lock. The reason he's a lock, again, is the same narrative as Kawhi Leonard. They're going against a team that's given up a lot of points to their respective positions, and they're giving up a lot of points to teams altogether. So I definitely want to lock him in. Another player that, will be good would be Blake Griffin. I would like him. His matchup versus the power forwards at Portland is, it's not good, but it's not bad. The defense does allow over 106 points to not only the opposing team, but to the power forward position. The pace is fairly decent. It's not the best. You always want a higher pace. A higher pace means more possessions, and more possessions mean more opportunities, so on and so forth. But the usage rate is there. The usage rate is there, and the efficiency is there. So I'll like him for that purpose. Okay. All right. Let me see here. Okay. So for the center, last but not least, we'll look at value. And Pau Gasol was actually a little frustrating in his season opener against the Golden State Warriors. I think he's still trying to find his place in there. And, I guess they're trying to mold him to be like the Tim Duncan that is no longer with us via retirement. And I'm going to like him. I'm not really too hot on Pau Gasol, but you know what? Any night could be any of the San Antonio Spurs night. You know, statistically, Pau Gasol does perform well against the Sacramento Kings. He is a double-double monster, and so he could easily put up a double-double, 15 points, 10 rebounds, which is good for 27 Fanduel points, for the price. I mean, that's fairly, cool, so that's somebody that you definitely can consider. Another person that I would look at would be Dwight Howard. He's favored at home by 4.5 points. He's playing against a Washington team that does give up a lot of points to the center position. I don't really see Marcin Gortat really dominating this game. I do see Marcin getting some points, getting some rebounds and stuff like that. But I don't really see him dominating like Dwight Howard. I feel like him being under Budenholzer's system, it will allow him to be the center that he always wanted to be, and the center that the NBA has always wanted Dwight Howard to be. Aside from him being, what people perceive him as being overly emotional and all this stuff like that. So those are the centers that I'm looking at. Let's see, Dwayne Dedmon. Did he do anything? If you want a punt play, you can always look at Dwayne Dedmon. He was traded to the Spurs from Orlando, and whenever Vucevic was out, or Aaron Gordon was out, or any other position that was being filled in the power forward position, Dwayne Dedmon always filled in. You can look at his stats, and you'll see that whenever any one of those guys were out, he would fill in and he would do damage and he would do business. He did pull up 16.5 fantasy point, 16.6 fantasy points, and so his value increased by 0.1. And he's definitely a pump play if you're trying to fit in some more studs. And it's funny, I would actually probably like him over Pau Gasol, but that's just me. Because again, with this whole San Antonio Sacramento game, it could be a blowout, and of course they're projected to win. San Antonio's projected to win by 8 points. But I mean, if they did what they did to the Golden State Warriors, I don't know if the Sacramento Kings will be able to put up a fight. And on top of that, they had a day's rest. Sacramento is going to be on a back-to-back game, so that's definitely a game that you definitely want to stack up on. If you haven't thought about it, you should. Now that I look at it, now that I'm able to kind of walk you guys through my thought process, it is becoming more and more evident that this game is going to be a blowout, and I feel like their over-under is going to exceed what's projected by Vegas. They're definitely going to be up there in the amount. And so you definitely want the players that for sure are going to be on the floor the most. I don't feel like Powell is going to be on the floor the most, even though this last game, he only played 18 minutes. He's projected to play 30 minutes. I don't trust that. It's too early in the season. But for the sake of this video, we're liking him. And again, guys, another reason why I do these videos is because it's also helping me confirm with my convictions as to who I really want to play and who I don't want to play. And right now, I've liked, several players. I say in each position, I liked about 2 to 3 players. So that really narrows down who, I want to use or who I don't want to use, so on and so forth, right? There's so many ways that you can go about doing this. I mean, if you want to just look at player efficiency rating, you can look at that. If you want to look at usage rating, you can look at that. Or if you just want to look at all of the players all at the same time, you can see everyone's, rating and everything like that. One of the key things that I would say, if anybody's playing NBA for the first time, I would say that the number one thing that you want to focus on is not so much the chalk play of the night. It's really the value play. If you can focus on the value player that can give you a 5 to 10 to even 20 times their value, that is what is going to help you win the grand prize pools. The $1, the $2, $5, $25, whatever the amount you want to play. You are guaranteed to win if you get the right value player of the evening. And that just comes with, research, and just reading up and watching some of the beat writers, seeing what everybody is on and maybe pivot off to someone else that people might be sleeping on. And that's basically what happens with the NBA. So with that being said, let me go ahead and press the optimal lineup. Let this thing do its thing. I have a couple of other windows in the background. All right, so right now I have Dennis Schroeder, Isaiah Thomas, Manu Ginobili, C.J. McCollum, Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Anderson. Uh, we have LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin, and Marcin Gortat. Okay. I really don't like Kyle Anderson right now, even though I feel like he has an opportunity to do better than what he did yesterday. And you know what? All right, guys, I'm going to level with you. I'm going to like this one just in case Kyle Anderson does do something. But I really don't like the dude. I don't like him. I don't know what his role is, what his role is really going to relay here with the Spurs. I know he's a backup to Kawhi, but he's starting as a shooting guard. So, you already know that Kawhi and LaMarcus is going to eat up all the minutes and all the points. So, and everybody else is going to fill in. Okay, so this is what we have. We have Dennis Schroeder, Isaiah Thomas, Manu Ginobili, Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, Jonathan Simmons, LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin, and Al Horford. Again, another thing that I want to share is that, hey, listen, you have your convictions. And, the beautiful thing about the optimizer, it will help you fill in the blanks where necessary. So Al Horford, okay, let's look at Al Horford, okay? Al Horford yesterday, I believe it was yesterday. Yep, yesterday. He only played 27 minutes, and he scored 32 fantasy points. So if we were to look at Al Horford right now, you can look at that's not what I look at. His player efficiency rating is at 19, which is really high, which is really good. And his usage rate is at 20, if we look at it in percentages, at 20%. So for every, so if there's 100 possessions in this game or 98 possessions, he is bound to have the ball 18 times in this game. So think about it that way. So the more opportunities the ball is in his hands, it's either going to be to score, to rebound, to assist, to block, to steal. And he can fill up the stat sheet. So that's definitely somebody who you want to look at. He's really more of a power forward than he is a center. If you're playing DraftKings, he'll be more of a power forward. But, of course, on FanDuel, he is a center. To me, I don't feel that Al Horford is a true center. I feel he's more of a power forward. But, I feel like Zeller is more of a center than Al Horford. And I think in a situation, in the game, he did come off the screen as a power forward, and I believe Amir Johnson came off as a center or vice versa. But anyway, that's one guy. The next guy is Bradley Beal. Let's look at Bradley Beal. There we go. Bradley Beal. His usage rate is pretty high. He's basically like the number 2 scorer on that team outside of basically the top 4 scorers on Washington is John Wall, Bradley Beal, Otto Porter, and Marcin Gortat. those are the 4 that you're always going to go for. Okay, so if you wanted to do a stack, a contrarian stack, I will stack those 4 guys against the Hawks, and then you just fill in the blanks with some more higher paced, higher flow, higher usage games. Okay, so that's just something to think about. But yeah, so that's the reason why the lineup did that. And let me randomize this for one more line. And as you see, I'm saving these lines because I actually like them, and I will be using them for tonight. Let's see here. Okay, so here's another lineup. We have Isaiah Thomas, Damian Lillard, Manu Ginobili, Dwayne Wade, Kawhi Leonard, Otto Porter, LaMarcus Aldridge, Andrew Nicholson, and Pau Gasol. And I'm going to like that one too. Okay. All right. And so those are the 3 lineups that I have. Those are the players that I'm really high on. Again, I'm going to do a brief summary of all the players that I like. Okay. That's Kawhi Leonard being at the top, Blake Griffin, Isaiah Thomas, McCollum, Ginobili, Lillard, Howard, Schroeder, Simmons, Gasol, Wade, Nicholson, Dedmon, and Aldridge, which is a lock. And another player, one more player, if you really want to go for a good cash game, or GPP for that matter, you know, you can always go for Chris Paul too. So just for the sake of the video, I'm going to like him. And I'll do one more with Chris Paul and see what happens. Okay. Nothing different. So I can see that there was more value in everyone else than maybe Chris Paul. And that's just due to pricing. As you can see, the top player that I have here only has 8,600 points, and that's Blake Griffin. Everyone else is very much mid-level and to value. But you know, I'm expecting some 5x, 10x plays out of here tonight. Robin Lopez. I'm not sure about Robin Lopez, but I'm pretty sure that Robin Lopez usage rating is pretty high, especially with him being the starting center. 17 high pace. The defense versus position is looking good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he could work. So those are the plays there. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Let me know what y'all think. You can check me out on Instagram at DFS5050 or DFS Portfolio on Facebook. Or you can just leave a comment here on this video. Like, share, subscribe. If you are an aspiring artist and you like beats, I got plenty of beats at SeanBlack.com. And they're very, very affordable. I'm doing a year-end sale on all of my beats. And I'm also taking offers. So let me know what y'all think. If you like this, if you like what you see, this is the optimizer that I use, Daily Fantasy Nerd. It's very inexpensive. If you really want to utilize some of the features that would not be available in just the free version, this version right here that I have is like $34.99. You can work off the basic version, which is like $19.99, and you will have some of the benefits that you have here. You can generate up to 10 lineups. The only thing you can't do is you can't save your lineups, and you can't export your lineups, and you can't use the projections tab, which you can use it. Well, no, let me take that back. You can't use it because the thing is, one of the things that I'm going to be doing, and this is just something for you guys to understand, as the season goes along, there's going to be certain stats that are going to be filling in, like the last 5 average, season floor, season ceiling, and then of course what Daily Fantasy Nerd is projecting for these teams to score for those particular game slates. One of the things that I'm working on right now with a couple of partners of mine, we're working on some projections, and in these projections, they would either correlate or they would kind of, basically projections would kind of compare and contrast based on other stats that we're looking at that the DFS Center may or may not be using. One thing that I noticed is that projections all across the board definitely make a difference in you having a winning line, a cashing lineup or a top prize winning lineup. So again, that's just something for y'all to think about, something for y'all to look at. In the lineups page here, as you can see, I have my exposures and I have the 4 lines that I want to use. All right, guys. And if you want to press pause right now for this video to see who all are the top plays that I thought, that I talked about, this is now a good time to do that. Okay. This is your boy Sean Black, aka DFS 5050. Thank you so much for tuning in, and remember, faith and skill.